Good evening and welcome to our in-depth coverage of a pressing issue rocking U.S. fiscal policy. President Donald Trump's massive legislative proposal, known as the Big Beautiful Bill, has sparked intense debate in Congress and sent shockwaves through financial markets. With a projected $3 trillion cost over the next decade, Republican lawmakers are raising alarms about its potential to balloon the national debt, already at $36.2 trillion. Critics call it a debt bomb, warning it could destabilize the economy and erode America's creditworthiness. Let's unpack the details of this contentious bill and the growing divide within the GOP. The 1,116-page budget reconciliation bill, narrowly passed by the House, aims to deliver on Trump's key promises, extending the 2017 tax cuts, eliminating taxes on tips and overtime, increasing defense spending and allocating $140 billion for border security and deportations. It also raises the debt ceiling by $4 trillion to fund the government through the 2026 midterms. However, the Congressional Budget Office estimates it will add $3.8 trillion to the deficit over 10 years, as annual deficits are projected to rise from $2.2 trillion in 2025 to over $2.5 trillion by 2035. Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller called such deficits not sustainable. The bond market is feeling the heat. Yields on 30-year U.S. Treasury bonds hit 5.15% last Thursday, the highest since October 2023, signaling investor unease about U.S. debt. Senator Rick Scott of Florida warned, "We're having trouble selling our long bonds already." Moody's recent downgrade of the U.S. credit rating cited Congress's failure to curb deficits and rising interest costs. Senator Ron Johnson noted that every 1% interest rate hike adds $360 billion annually to debt servicing costs, straining future budgets. Within the Republican Party, tensions are high. Fiscal conservatives like Senators Scott, Rand Paul, and Johnson demand deeper spending cuts to offset the bill's costs. Paul warned Republicans will wholly own future deficits if the bill passes unchanged, criticizing the $4 trillion debt ceiling increase and $300 billion in new spending for the military and border, including $46 billion for a border wall. "There's nothing conservative about this," he said. The bill includes $880 billion in cuts to Medicaid and SNAP, but moderates like Senators Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski oppose these, fearing harm to rural hospitals and vulnerable groups. The Congressional Budget Office projects these cuts could strip health coverage from 8.6 million Americans and reduce SNAP benefits for 3 million monthly. Johnson called the savings a joke, estimating real reductions are minimal. The repeal of renewable energy tax breaks also faces resistance from Senators Murkowski, Tom Tillis, and others who warn of job losses and industry turmoil. With a slim 53-seat Senate Majority Leader John Thune can lose only 3 votes, making these disputes critical. In the House, only Representatives Thomas Massie and Warren Davidson voted against the bill. Massie called it a debt bomb ticking, criticizing its short-term tax cuts over fiscal responsibility. The House raised the SALT deduction cap to $40,000, adding costs. As the bill moves to the Senate, conservatives push for stronger reforms while moderates defend key programs. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent urged passage by mid-July to avoid a debt ceiling default. Democrats, united in opposition, warn the bill favors the wealthy and guts safety nets. The Senate's rewrite will shape America's fiscal future. Will Republicans unify behind Trump's vision, or will divisions force a rethink? Can the U.S. avert a debt crisis? Stay tuned for updates.